Hey everybody, Celebrity Whispers here with another video for you, except this time this video will be soft spoken, and it's just going to be pretty much me talking to you about something in particular, something that I have been stating I've been meaning to do a video on for a long time, ever since I first joined the community about 2 months ago probably, and I've just never got around to doing it until now. So yes, this is the long overdue video on the Ryan Adams album Heartbreaker, which I wanted to talk about. Some of you who have been listening to my videos, who have been checking them out, who are subscribed, may know that I do a Monday mix every week now, where I recommend 6 different songs for people to check out. Well, I kind of just wanted to do something a little more focused, and something a little bit more important and personal. Well, I say important, those videos are important to me, but something perhaps a little more personal to me, and something that means a lot to me. And that is Heartbreaker. It's definitely an album that changed a lot of things for me, in many different avenues. But before I get into that, I'm going to give you a little bit of background information on the album. It is the debut studio album by Ryan Adams, and it was released in September 2000, recorded in over 14 days at Woodland Studios in the legendary Nashville, of course. Produced by Ethan Jones, and features a whole host of interesting musicians and people involved with the actual making and production of the album, including David Rawlings, who features at the start of the album, having a kind of discussion / debate about songs that appear on Bone to Drag, the Morrissey compilation album. And you know, if you're going to start an album off in any way, that's a pretty good way to start it. Yeah, so the album was released 2000, but I didn't get my hands on it until about 2 years later, 2002, when I was 17. Now, up until this point, my taste in music was pretty terrible. I have no problem admitting that I was very much somebody who would listen to kind of what everybody else was listening to, or what was kind of popular at the time, either in the charts or on the radio, and that was terrible. And this album kind of broke me out of that. I guess to be honest, I can't even remember how. I know how I came about it, but I don't know when or what actually led me to it. But I first heard it when I took it out of my local library. I don't know if you guys have libraries that still rent CDs or whatnot. I don't know if that's still popular in a lot of places, but I remember doing it. I went through a big phase of taking CDs out from the library just to check stuff out, and I took this album out, and I remember playing it for the first time, and it was strange because I never really heard music with any kind of strong country or folk influences, so it really was kind of new to me, but it was a wonderful kind of new. It was exciting, and it just, I felt a very strong bond with the music pretty quickly, and the more I listened to Heartbreaker, the more this kind of bond resonated with me. I picked this album up from the library during a time in my life what I have labelled as the heartbreaks and hangover period, because I was a late bloomer at school, a late bloomer in life rather. I only became interested in girls at around the age of 17 to 18, and I kind of became very interested in them, You know, it was kind of like, very much like this album was. You know, I kind of had a very blinkered view to that kind of aspect of life, but suddenly my eyes were open, and I was just kind of scoping out everything that was in my peripheral field of vision, I guess. It's like a hunger that I never knew I had. So I suddenly became very romantically inclined, you know. I wasn't one of these guys who just wanted to kind of use girls and toss them aside. I was very much, and I still am, I think, a kind of very romantic person. So, you know, when the idea of kind of bonds and relationships with girls kind of appeared to me and made itself clear that, you know, there was so much more to this other species. I kind of just wanted to investigate with fully, and throw my heart and my time and everything into it, and kind of, it was daft, you know, because at 17 and 18 you don't really know what you want, but because it was all new to me, I was kind of headspun, I guess. So this was about the time I'd started going out as well, socially, meeting girls, talking to girls, kind of being around other people, social environments, going out, drinking, even though technically at 17 I was underage. And just kind of going through the wild, fun stage of kind of rifling through life. It was very fun. It was very fun and very forming for me. It totally developed who I am now, and it was definitely a stage I think I needed to go through, and I think I was at a good age to go through it at that point. But anyway, I'm totally sidetracking. So yeah, I picked this album up during that stage, what I called Heartbreaks and Hangovers, because it literally was that, you know. I was, I thought I was falling in love with every girl that would speak. Now I'm older and wiser, I know that wasn't the case. I was just like an excitable puppy, I guess. It's one way to put it. But this album really kind of spoke to me on that level, you know. Just the tracks like Come Pick Me Up, which is one of my favourite songs of all time, which is essentially just about, you know, being head over heels with somebody that you love, and just kind of putting everything else in life on the back burner, pushing it to the side, you know, because all you want to do is spend time with them. Same with tracks like Call Me On Your Way Back Home. But then there's also that kind of to kind of contrast with that kind of feeling of love in a sort of positive sense, you know. There's also real songs of heartbreak, which at the time I thought I was going through. I wasn't, but as I got older and I did actually go through a series of heartbreak, this still was very much an album I went back to and still related to when I was in sort of times of emotional despair in that sense. Tracks like Why Did They Leave, for certain, is definitely one of those tracks that really kind of just sort of emotes and projects what it is that you're thinking, but in a song and in such a beautiful artistic manner. Just incredible stuff. I mean, the track which kind of really encapsulated that time of my life, that kind of era of youth, is the actual first song on the album, which is called To Be Young, in brackets, is to be sad, is to be high. You know, that kind of polarised emotional scale just really aligned itself up with a lot of what was going on in my head at that age. You know, best of times, worst of times. Even now, even though I don't actually listen to the album a lot, I can still definitely come back to it. At any given time, any time I want, I can come back to this record and just cherry pick songs off there, or just listen to the whole thing through. That's the thing, it's a very easily digestible album. The way it flows and its consistency is just amazing. So it is just a fantastic album, and such an easy and joyful listen from start to finish. But even though I'm in a happier place, I can kind of go back to some of those sadder songs on the album and kind of look at things from a different angle. And it's interesting because although a lot of stuff stays the same, when listening to certain tracks, I can look at things from a totally different view, and but yet it just kind of evolves, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is my point of view and my sort of way of thinking has evolved, but yet there is still very much a strong connection between me and this album, and I think there always will be. Musically, it was just as beneficial for me as it was on a personal level, because it kind of, like I said near the top of the video, this was the first time for me really hearing kind of folksy and country kind of roots type music of that style and genre. And there's a couple of tracks on the album which are noticeably very Bob Dylan-esque. Stuff like Damn Sam, I Love a Woman That Rains, Sweet Little Gal. Tracks like that really kind of have a real strong essence of Dylan to them. And this album actually kind of turned me on to Dylan and to a lot of his contemporaries and a lot of musicians from that era. But it also opened me up to all kinds of stuff. A lot more guitar-based music I was introduced to because of the Morrissey reference at the top. I kind of began rather to explore the Smiths, which was such a blessing because that group became one of my favourites of all time. And it really kind of opened many doors for me musically, as well as it did in a sense of being able to express myself, because it was this album that really kind of got me to write, got me started on the writing trail. I had written stuff as a youngster, I was always fond of storytelling, but I kind of went through a very sort of dry phase of just not touching that. So this really was very much the spark that kind of reignited my interest in creating stuff, in poetry, and it was definitely a factor which kind of led me on to learn the guitar, because I kind of, after hearing these songs which were kind of saying everything I had in my head and my heart, I wanted an outlet for myself. I wanted to be able to do that for myself, to kind of say that in my own voice and kind of deliver these thoughts and feelings through my own way. So yeah, the song that I'm going to leave you with, well, I'm not going to play it because of copyright reasons, but I'm going to put a link in the swimsuit area, is a song called Oh My Sweet Carolina. And this song may be of some real help to a lot of people in the community, and to a lot of people outside of the community. It's a song about kind of losing your way, not knowing who you are, what you're doing, or more specifically where it is that you're heading to. And at times we all kind of feel this, we all kind of wander off our own personal journey a little bit, and sometimes we kind of just need a bit of guidance, and sometimes that's not available. So sometimes it's just good and somewhat healing to know that, you're not the only one trying to retrace their steps and find themselves back on track. It's an absolutely beautiful song. The lyrics are just fantastic, and it's just got some great backing vocals from Emmylou Harris, who is just a legend. As is this whole album. It really is an important album to me, and something that I will always love and cherish for the rest of my life.